Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We are back again with Pathfinder Kingmaker. You already know the drill, so let's just get right into it. This video will be longer than usual because Antipaladin was not in the Kingmaker base game, and it's not in Wrath of the Righteous at all, so we need to review the base mechanics for the class. Anti-Paladins are paladins who have not only strayed from the path of good, but have also decided they relish being evil. The class has a high base attack bonus, a max spell level of 4, and its casting attribute is Charisma. The divine spells must be prepared in the spellbook prior to being used. This class comes with proficiencies in simple and martial weapons, all types of armors, and shields except from tower shields. Anti-paladins who stray away from an evil alignment lose access to their spells and class features. They also cannot gain additional levels as an anti-paladin until their alignment changes back. Their class skills are Knowledge World, Knowledge Arcana, Lore Nature, Lore Religion, and Persuasion. At level 1, anti-paladins automatically gain Smite Good. Up to 6 times per day as a swift action against good aligned enemies, you can add your Charisma bonus to attack rolls and your anti-paladin class level to damage rolls made against the target of your smite. These attacks will automatically bypass the DR of the target. This effect lasts until the target dies or a new target is selected. At level 11, anti-paladins can give their smite effects to their party members, the same way paladins can with Mark of Justice. For most of the game, this ability is trash. Even on a scum-sucking, pure evil run, the vast majority of enemies you face are going to be neutral. The most powerful enemies will be chaotic neutral. Gaining extra damage against good aligned enemies buys you close to nothing. This changes at level 20 when you are able to smite enemies regardless of their alignment. This skyrockets their ability to being more useful than a paladin smite evil because again, most of the truly tough enemies in the game are not of an evil alignment. So long term, this is definitely useful, but it takes a long time to get there. At level 2, anti-paladins gain a bonus equal to their charisma bonus up to their class level on all saving throws. Undoubtedly, this is a fantastic feature that makes you significantly more tanky. Also at level 2, this class gains their alternative to Lay on Hands, Touch of Corruption. Instead of positive energy, this ability uses negative energy and can damage living enemies or heal the undead. Feats or other abilities that interact with Lay on Hands, such as the extra Lay on Hands feats, will interact with this ability as well. At level 3, this class becomes immune to damage and penalties resulting from diseases. You can still contract diseases and spread them to other party members, but it will have no effect on you. This definitely makes your character more tanky as well. Starting at level 3 and every 3 levels thereafter, you gain a Cruelty, which is the anti-paladin's alternative to Mercies. Cruelties inflict statuses onto enemies such as exhausted or paralyzed. You can add 1 cruelty effect to your Touch of Corruption. Some of these statuses are devastating for enemies, so this is actually nice to have. At level 4, you gain the ability to channel negative energy. I would say this isn't particularly useful since you cannot be a Dampier in this game and you only get 1 undead party member. At level 5, you get your first ranking of Fiendish Boon, which serves exactly the same role as Weapon Bond, allowing you to either give your weapon an enhancement bonus or add special properties onto it. The difference is, instead of options like Holy and Flaming Burst, you get options like Unholy, Vicious, and Vorpal. Very nice to have. At level 3, you get your first of several auras. Aura of Cowardice gives enemies within 10 feet a -4 penalty on saving throws against fear effects. Extremely useful if you or one of your party members is running an intimidation build. At level 8, enemies within 10 feet receive a -2 penalty on all saving throws. This doesn't stack with Aura of Cowardice, but it's still insanely useful, especially if you have party members that regularly attack enemy saving throws, such as an Illusion Mage. At level 14, anti-paladins weapons and any attacks made against enemies within 10 feet are treated as evil aligned for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. Finally, at level 17, you gain DR against all attacks that are not of good alignment, and all enemies within 10 feet receive a -4 penalty on saving throws against compulsion effects. Once again, this is incredibly useful for crowd control party members. That wraps up all the mechanics for Anti-Paladin, so let's move on to the archetypes, starting with Insinuator. Insinuators lose Smite Good, Touch of Corruption, Cruelties, and the Antipaladin's auras, but all of these are replaced by alternative mechanics. At level 1, you automatically gain Evocation, but I think it's easier to explain that in conjunction with Smite Impudence. So you automatically also gain Smite Impudence, and this works the same as Smite Good, except once per day you can beseech the forces empowering you to smite your foes. This is a little tricky to explain, so let's jump into an example. So in this example, you can see that I have a level 1 Insinuator who is neutral evil. If I want to spend the entire day smiting neutral evil creatures, that is free and nothing needs to be done. However, if I wanted to smite creatures of a different alignment, I can beseech outsiders that are one step away from the alignment that I have chosen. So you can see here that I could choose either neutral evil, lawful evil, chaotic evil, or true neutral. I don't have any good aligned options because that would be more than one step away from the alignment I have chosen. Obviously, that gives you significantly more flexibility regarding what type of enemies you can smite, especially if you know up front what their alignment is most likely going to be. Keep in mind, you do actually have to convince the outsider, which means you need to pass a lore, religion, or diplomacy check equal to 15 plus your anti-paladin level. At level 11, Insinuators can give their Smite Impudence bonuses to the entire team. At level 2, instead of Touch of Corruption, you gain Selfish Healing, which allows you to heal yourself the same way you could if you had Lay on Hands. Instead of Cruelties, you gain Greeds, would that allow you to clear harmful statuses from yourself. You still get the ability to channel negative energy at level 4, however, if you invoke an outsider that has a neutral alignment, you can channel positive energy, with half of your anti-paladin level treated as your cleric level. Channeling positive energy is much more useful, so this flexibility is nice to have. Starting at level 4 and every 3 levels thereafter, Insinuators gain a bonus feat that must be chosen from the list of combat feats, or you can select the skill focus. Obviously, this is very useful for a martial-based class. At level 3, Insinuators get their unique list of auras. Aura of Ego provides allies with a +2 bonus and enemies with a -2 penalty towards saving throws against fear effects. At level 8, allies within 10 feet gain a +1 bonus to saving throws, while enemies within 10 feet take a -1 penalty. At level 14, your weapons are treated as having the same alignment as the outsider you invoke at the beginning of the day. At level 17, you gain damage resistance against specific alignments based on what outsider you have invoked. At level 20, this DR bonus increases. You also double the bonuses to attack and damage when you smite enemies, which is absolutely insane. Finally, you can invoke a new outsider patron by meditating again. Honestly, I'm not clear on what that last part means, but regardless, I think this class is absolutely fantastic and presents a very interesting potential evil playthrough. It's hard to compare them without having played through the game, but offhand, I think Insinuator is better than a pure anti-paladin. Next on the list is Blighted Myrmidon. Smite Good gets additional functionality and is changed to Smite Nature. This allows you to smite animals, plants, fae, elementals, vermin, or any creature that has levels in Druid, Ranger, or Hunter, regardless of their alignment. By far, the most enemies you face will be fae, so this is actually huge and makes Smite Nature better than Smite Good, and frankly, much easier to use than Smite Impudence. At level 11, you lose Aura of Vengeance, which allowed you to give the Smite Good bonuses to other party members. Instead, you gain Aura of Decay, which allows you to damage enemies within the aura and gain health back if they are an animal, fae, or one of the other listed enemies in the Smite Nature mechanics. I think giving your party members the charisma bonuses is pretty obviously the superior option, and this is a downgrade from what an anti-paladin provides. Regardless, this is definitely a class to consider. Moving on, we have Iron Tyrant. You lose access to Touch of Corruption and Cruelties, which impacts your ability to debuff or crowd control enemies. In exchange, starting at level 3 and every 3 levels thereafter, Iron Tyrants gain a bonus feat that must be chosen from the list of combat feats that specifically relate to your armor or shields. This is a trade-off I am personally not a fan of, but it does make you more tanky, so it fits in nicely with a certain playstyle. You also lose Fiendish Boon and instead gain Fiendish Bond, which allows you to add enhancements and properties to armor instead of weapons. Again, I am not a fan of this exchange, but it does make you more tanky and fits for role-playing purposes. At level 2, you get Iron Fist, which provides the improved unarmed strike feat and causes attacks from the fighter's close weapon group to do damage equal to your level and not the weapon type. Obviously, this could be very useful depending on your playstyle. At level 4, you can move through difficult terrain at your normal speed without taking damage or suffering from impairment. All of this adds up to a very unique playthrough, so I'm definitely find that appealing, but mechanically, I don't think this stacks up against your other options. Next on the list is Dread Vanguard. You lose Aura of Sin, which could potentially impact your ability to overcome damage reduction. In exchange, you get Beacon of Evil, which lets you use Touch of Corruption to create a 30-foot aura for 1 minute. The aura provides you and party members with a profane bonus of up to +4 to AC, attack rolls, damage rolls, and saving throws against fear effects. It also provides fast healing up to +5, allows the Dread Vanguard to use Touch of Corruption as a ranged attack, and makes your weapon and attacks of nearby allies evil aligned for the purpose of damage reduction. Finally, at level 20, this ability will add 1d6 damage to all attacks from you and your allies. Obviously, this ability is bananas, both mechanically and from a role-playing standpoint. At level 14, you get Dark Emissary, which allows you to mark a location and then impose a penalty on all creatures within 20 feet. Allies or evil creatures that serve the same power as you are immune to this effect. This is not an issue because, again, the vast majority of enemies you face are not evil aligned anyway. At first, you can only use Crushing Despair, which causes creatures to take a -2 penalty on attack rolls, saving throws, ability checks, skill checks, and weapon damage rolls. Level 17 lets you use Symbol of Pain, which imposes a -4 penalty on attack rolls, skill checks, and ability checks. Finally, at level 20, you can use Symbol of Weakness, which deals 3d6 points of strength damage on impacted creatures. If their strength reaches 0, enemies fall unconscious, so this is a very useful skill for you. Keep in mind, some incorporeal creatures don't have a strength score, so this would have no effect. Regardless, all 3 of these effects can overlap, so this is potentially tremendous crowd control against your enemies. Dread Vanguard is absolutely sick. I wish this class was in Wrath of the Righteous. These mechanics are meant for a Lich or Demon run through and through. Next up is Tyrant. You lose Smite Good and instead gain Smite Chaos. This is definitely more useful since there are many enemies that are chaotic neutral. At level 14, instead of your weapons becoming evil aligned for the purpose of overcoming damage resistance, they are changed to lawful, and at level 17, you gain your DR against all attacks that aren't chaotic instead of good aligned. Finally, at level 20, you lose Tip of the Spear, which is a massive sacrifice, taking away a great deal of flexibility regarding who you can smite. Instead, you gain Unholy Champion, which provides more DR and ensures when using Channel Negative Energy or Touch of Corruption to damage an enemy, you deal the maximum amount possible. This ability is certainly not trash, but it's absolutely a downgrade compared to what Antipaladin provides. Overall, I don't think Tyrant buys you that much. Quick note before we go over Unholy Minion. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate you subscribing and hitting the like button. This information tells me which content the community is enjoying and helps my videos spread to more people. I really appreciate all of the support. Last on the list is Unholy Minion. You lose 3 rankings of Smite Good, which is obviously very impactful. You also lose Fiendish Boon and instead gain Fiendish Bond. This bonds you with a spirit who provides you a bonus you can use up to 4 times per day. The bonus can be adding +1 to the caster level of any spell you cast, +1 DC to a spell you cast, an additional 1d8 damage or healing when channeling negative energy, or you can restore 1 use of Touch of Corruption. Personally, I don't think these options are worth losing the enhancement bonus to your weapon, but your mileage may vary. That wraps up my breakdown of Antipaladin and all of its archetypes. Hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a like, share this content, subscribe to the channel, and become a member if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.